Hello, and thank you for joining me again for the Finding Hope After Loss podcast. The subject today is sharing or talking about your lost story and your lost journey. There's so many different ways that you can share your story, whether you choose to be public or if you would rather just stay private. Sharing can help you heal, and it can help others heal as well. This isn't to say you have to go share if you're not ready. We all have different comfort levels, and some of us feel like sharing more details than others. It's totally okay if you are not yet ready, or if you're never ready to share. I started sharing when I was pregnant with Jasmine. We received her diagnosis of the CDH at 13 weeks, and then later we also got the diagnosis of the mosaic trisomy 15. And I was open during the whole pregnancy journey, and then I was open about the loss as well. After we lost her, I continued to share her story because I really wanted to be able to connect and help other lost families. I had hoped by telling my story that it would help others that were going through it as well. It would help others know that they aren't alone, that they aren't the only one going through it, and that there is still hope that we can get through it, that we can not ever get over the grief, but that we can learn to live with the grief. My mindset was that even if I helped just one person, that it was worth it. And I still share about her as often as I can because it helps keep her memory alive. And honestly, it's helped me heal. It's allowed me to work through a lot of feelings because I write about them and I share them instead of keeping them all inside. I always try to encourage people to share whatever it is they're comfortable sharing. You can even start by just sharing with one trusted family member or friend if you prefer not to be as public about it. You can start sharing publicly by just saying your baby's name or just acknowledging that you've had a loss. You don't have to go into, all the details. Don't feel obligated to share every little aspect of it if you're not ready. I think you'll find that even if it seems emotionally hard at first and it's hard to talk about, that you actually will feel better after sharing it. And if you ever want to share your story through the Rainbow Skirt project that I have called Project Finding Your Rainbow, you can find more information at journeyforjasmine.com. This is where you wear the rainbow skirt, take pictures, and write your story. And then the pictures and the stories are shared to help raise awareness. And then it helps you share your story. I've had so many people who participated who said, that it was really hard to write out the story, but that it was also very healing, and that so many people are glad that they did it because it's helped them heal and helped them work through some of the grief that they have. And then if you would ever like to be a guest on the podcast and share your story, then you can email me at Sarah, SARAH, at journeyforjasmine.com if you're ever interested in being on the show. So today I am talking with Jenna. She experienced recurrent pregnancy loss before she recently had her rainbow baby. And then she talks about the unexpected benefits she received when she started publicly sharing her pregnancy loss story with others, and how it can also be helpful to talk about her journey and how it would be helpful for you to talk about your journey as well. Hello, everyone. Today I am here with Jenna. Jenna, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Hi, Sarah. I'm a almost 37-year-old mom. I'm Canadian. I live in Edmonton in the province of Alberta, and I'm currently on maternity leave. I live here with my husband, who we've been married for 4 years now, together for 10 years, and our 10-month-old daughter, Abby, and I guess our cat named Miso. I will resume my normal job in February, which is coming up really soon, as a marketing manager for a large financial firm. In my spare time, so I guess when Abby naps, I'm in the kitchen cooking, baking, or eating. Food brings me so much joy, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone in thinking that.
No, I'm right there with you. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, anything with noodles. I know that sounds weird, but I love noodles, and
I
Abby
love
eats a
them
lot of
too.
noodles. So stir fries, any sort of pasta, any Asian dish, anything with noodles. I love noodles.
That sounds good. Now I want some.
Yeah, I know, me too, always.
So can you share a little bit about your loss journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I could probably sit here and talk for an hour or more about the details and the finer memories that I have, but here's just kind of a quick summary. So my husband and I were diagnosed with unexplained recurrent pregnancy loss after 3 consecutive losses, early losses, so before 12 weeks, in a 13th month period, which included 2 D&Cs, and that was from January 2020 to January 2021. So 13 months. My husband and I were referred to a fertility clinic and had dozens and dozens of tests done. And pretty much all of our tests were normal, except that I had low to moderate AMH, which was a little bit frustrating, taking all these tests and him as well, and them saying, well, nothing's wrong with you, just keep trying. And we weren't good candidates for any sort of fertility treatment because they just said, you can get pregnant really easily, just keep trying. And so that was a little bit frustrating, not knowing what was wrong. We took a couple baby breaks here and there in that 13-month period. So 3 months here, 3 months there. One was actually doctor ordered to do those tests. We made a few lifestyle adjustments. And then when I got pregnant with Abby, which was miraculously 8 days after deciding to try to have a baby one more time, I had to take a couple medications to help maintain that pregnancy. And I was monitored very closely with lots of extra scans and blood work. My OB, and I had switched OBs from my first D&C to my second D&C, was absolutely amazing. She was just perfect to work with. She understood my frustrations, my fears, my anxiety, all my millions and millions of questions. And she was just fantastic. So I had lots of scans, probably at least 12 scans, lots of blood work. And then throughout the pregnancy, Abby measured right on track all the time. And she scored literally perfectly for all the tests done. But of course, with my prior history of loss and recurrent loss, I was absolutely terrified the whole pregnancy, and no milestone gave me peace. I carried that fear until I gave birth to her, but now that fear is replaced with normal parent anxiety, which I hear never goes away. You're always worried about your children. And Abby's our miracle. She's our triple rainbow baby that I honestly never thought would come. I never thought that having a baby the natural way with me and my husband would actually happen to us. And it's just amazing that she's here. She's the light of our lives. And we're just so grateful that she's healthy and just perfect.
I'm so happy that you were able to, finally have your rainbow baby.
Yeah.
After, all your losses and all that you went through.
Yes. Yeah. It's wonderful.
So I know that there's a particular loss aspect that you wanted to talk about today. So do you want to just start on that?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. I know that some of the previous episodes, by the way, which are amazing, all of these women sharing their stories and just providing support and hope is fantastic. I figured instead of talking about recurrent pregnancy loss, I wanted to talk about the 2 healing results that came from me publicly sharing our loss story. And when I mean public, I mean, of course, social media, but also talking to people like our family, our close friends, colleagues, even my boss at some point knew. And I know that that's not an option for everybody. Not everybody has people who are supportive or, they trust them or they're receptive to hearing that sort of information. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I just want to first start off with saying to all the lost parents who are listening, if me sharing about sharing our losses helps you feel empowered to also share your loss story, even with just one person as part of your healing journey, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. And if not, if you don't want to share your story, that is 100%, 1000%, 10,000% okay. And if anything, I hope that just by listening, you feel a little less alone and so supported. I'm here for you, all grieving parents. I just want to make sure that I'm not telling everybody to tell people about their losses. I just want to give a positive story about what happened when I shared about my losses. And there are 2 results that happened. And the first result that came forward was that I was able to help others heal in their loss journey. I'm a Christian. I I believe in God and have a relationship with Christ. And what I wanted to do on the due date of the baby that I first lost, and that was September 28th of 2020, was make a post just sharing that I had lost a baby and this was the due date. This was the day that the baby may have come. And in that post, I also shared that that was our first loss, but that we had also had a second loss and we've lost two babies that year. And I remember drafting that post and just being absolutely petrified that I would be judged or I would feel shame. And I had it in my Facebook draft for at least a week, just going over what to say. And I was just super scared. And I just remember praying, God, give me the strength to just share this. Give me the strength to share it so that it helps someone else. Not even me. I want to do this for someone else because I know that pregnancy and infant loss is not talked about. It's not widely shared as much as it should be, just because there's so much guilt and shame and grief that comes with that. So I did end up sharing. And of course, before I did share, I asked my husband if this was okay, because this is his loss too. Those were his babies as well. And I needed to make sure that he was okay, that I was sharing something so personal. And he was super supportive. He said, yes, absolutely, go ahead. So I did share on Facebook and on Instagram. And it was just this crazy, unexpected result. So I received so much support and it touched so many people that I received, I can't even count, probably 40, 50 private messages, text messages, phone calls from people that I haven't even talked to since high school or haven't talked to since I worked with them 10 years ago, about how that they felt supported just because I shared. And then it made them feel like it was okay for them to share. And even just with them sharing with me, not being, not making them want to share publicly just yet, made them feel heard. So we started conversations in private and they had said, this baby is my rainbow baby. And I haven't told anybody yet, not even my parents know. And they were commenting just wonderful things of support, saying, this is wonderful. You're so brave. This needs to be talked about more. And I thought, wow, this is great. We're starting something. This is fantastic. And, we hear that 1 in 4 pregnancies end in loss, but really, I think it's a lot more than that. I really believe that, because there are pregnancies that women don't even know about that are lost. Those are just the pregnancies that are confirmed pregnancies. And I didn't expect this to touch so many lives. So again, those people that I haven't spoken to in years or since high school, for me, which by the way is 20 years, that ages me, they also commented and messaged me when we announced that we were pregnant with Abby. And this was our first public pregnancy announcement because we had lost 3 before. This was a big deal. I publicly posted, I think at the time I was either 21 or 22 weeks pregnant. I waited a really long time because I was really scared. And these same people were just cheering us on and commenting things like, oh my gosh, I'm in tears. I'm literally crying with you. I'm celebrating with you. It was just absolutely wonderful. The amount of love for this little girl was just so overwhelming. Even though I was so scared. But back to me having share as a way to help others heal. I noticed that as time went on, so over the past couple of years, more and more women, and I will say women because it's mostly been women, but I know that of course this affects the dads as well, were posting on social media publicly on special days like October 15, which is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day every single year. They were posting on the baby's due date, the baby that they had lost. They were posting about losing the baby. And I try as much as possible to comment or to send them a message and just support them. And a lot of them responded back with, I saw your post and I felt like it was okay to share. I felt like I wanted to share, like I wanted to say their name. And it just meant so much to me that these parents were feeling empowered to share and to do it as part of their healing journey, and to also want to help change that stigma of pregnancy loss or infant loss. And when we share, and of course, if we are able to share, we help normalize pregnancy and infant loss. And one of the other things that happened as well is this mostly was on Instagram, because Instagram, my pages at the time were public. So literally anyone from around the world could message me. But I can't count how many strangers from around the world, different countries. There was a woman from India, there's a woman from South Africa, one from England, who also suffered from recurrent pregnancy loss, just like me. And they reached out to me and said that they found my Instagram page and my post inspired them to tell their story, or to tell one person, or to talk to their parents, or to seek help, or to change OBs, or just to do something to make them feel more empowered, or a little less alone and more supported. And they also wanted to know what I did differently in my fourth pregnancy to help maintain it, as well as what testing I completed with our fertility clinic. So it was really nice to just say, this isn't medical advice, but these are the tests that I completed and my husband completed. So maybe ask your doctor or your OB or whatever type of medical professional you have in your country, or whatever access to medical health care you have. These are the questions you can ask, and maybe these are some of the tests that you could get done. And I actually have paragraphs saved that I can copy and paste when it comes to the things to say to these women. And of course they're all women for now anyways, that reach out to me and they need support. And I just found that I was typing the same things, and we were starting these wonderful conversations. So it was nice to touch the lives of these moms, these wonderful moms who were grieving the loss of their baby or their babies in lots of cases, and just to be able to help them and make them feel less alone. And some of them were explaining that in the country that they live in, there's so much shame in their culture that comes with pregnancy loss. Moms are not allowed to talk about it. The blame is always on the mom. Husbands get really upset if it's a husband and wife marriage. They get very upset. There's a lot of resentment with the mom. And so I was listening to some of these women, and we were just talking, and they felt nice, even though they could just talk to a stranger from somewhere in a different country. So that was another really great thing that happened about me just starting by sharing that one first post about the baby that I had lost, and then of course continuing to post after that. So that was a quick summary of result number one, how it helped others heal a little bit in their loss journey. And of course, I don't think we fully heal as parents. I believe that grief goes away with time, or sorry, not goes away, but lessens with time. I think it's something that all parents carry. I think that it gets lighter and lighter. And even though I have my rainbow baby now, I think of my lost babies every single day. Every single day. There's a family across the street with 3 kids. And I remember even before Abby was born, just whenever they were outside, I thought, I can't look at them because I've lost 3 babies. So I need to turn the TV on really loud so that I don't think of them, because it would just make me so sad. And the silliest, what people, I guess not silly, the simplest things that you wouldn't even think of would just trigger that grief. But just things like that. And I guess it's really, Sarah, it's so nice to be on here and to talk about this. And I just really hope that the people listening they just feel so supported. Result number,
I was going to say, did you have any idea when you first made that post that you would get that many messages and that much outpouring of, I've been through it too? And
no. And I did start it with a trigger warning, because I didn't want people to think it was a pregnancy announcement. It was a simple post where I had the blocks that said 40 weeks with a positive pregnancy test. And I wrote trigger, this is not a pregnancy announcment. Trigger warning, miscarriage, pregnancy loss. And I said, please be respectful. No judgmental comments, please. That sort of thing. I remember after that post, I was just happy for like a week. I was just on cloud 9 because people just kept talking to me. And we'd cry together. I would listen, we would talk to each other, we would acknowledge our lost babies. It was something so magical and beautiful. And it just empowered me to start an Instagram account. I'm not by any means an influencer. I've only got like 300 followers and it's a private account now, but I wanted to start an Instagram account specifically about pregnancy loss, just so that more people could find me. But no, I did not expect that whatsoever. And I'm very grateful that people found it helpful and very healing.
There really is something so empowering about being the person that, people trust with their story.
Yes. Yes. I think it's so humbling and it's an honor. And I get when it's my closest friends. They of course trust me. They know me. If it is if it is my closest friends, I get that. But for people who I hadn't talked to since high school or when I lived in a different province 10 years ago, just people who are, we're just Facebook friends, but we haven't talked in so long. It's just amazing that they feel I'm a trustworthy source. And I believe that there is so much power when it comes to being vulnerable. I think that it takes great courage to be vulnerable. Um, One of the things that really bothers me is that it's hard to educate people on how to support people going through pregnancy or infant loss. And while we're grieving, we almost have to educate people on what they're allowed to say to us,
Yeah.
what's helpful and what's not helpful. And it's kind of infuriating because all the times we just kind of shut down and we just don't correct them, or we internalize the unknowingly horrible things that they say. So I was hoping that by me sharing, others would also understand how they can support somebody going through that type of loss.
Yeah, I think so many times we just kind of, it's just easier to just brush it off and, like, that was insensitive, but I don't want to go into like explaining it all,
Absolutely. I think it's a lot easier for, and I mean easier, I mean just less hassle for us to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just going into result number 2 that happened when I shared about our loss story. This one was unexpected. And it's probably the most obvious one, but I healed as well. I healed by sharing. And I had 3 miscarriages. The third miscarriage brought on the largest wave of unexpected grief. And I thought, I'm going to be okay. I've had a D&C before. I've had 2 miscarriages before. I'm alive. I survived. But I had a horrible February in 2020, 2021, which was a month after I lost our third child. And it was really bad. I got to a point where I was off social media for almost the entire month. I reached out to friends, family, colleagues, and I said, I don't want to talk to you this month. I just want to be alone. I told people at work who knew about our story. A lot of people did at that point. My team is really close at work. And I said, for those of you that have kids, can you please not share pictures of your kids in our work chats or talk about your kids like I'm just going through something that's really horrible. And I just distanced myself. And it obviously was depression. It was really bad. It was very deep. I felt super alone. And it was interesting because, my goal at the time was to share and talk to people so that I wouldn't feel alone and so that they wouldn't feel alone. But I had never felt more alone. I had one super scary thought that, and this is, I guess, the trigger warning here would be suicide. But I had a scary thought that this world would be better off without me. And as soon as I thought that, because I'm not the type of person to think that, I got help right away. I called my husband and I said, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I told him what I thought. And I said, don't worry about me. I will get help. Because I can't go on living like this. I can't go on with this grief, with thinking that I'm not good enough to carry a baby to full term. I'm not a good mom. I'm not a good person. I can't do this, that sort of thing. My life is worthless. So I talked to my boss as well. He gave me some support lines and I said, I'm not okay. And one of the things that happened around the same time is that on Facebook, I have a friend. And when I say friend, she's a Facebook friend, but we hadn't talked or seen each other in again, like maybe 15 or 20 years. And she had just posted that she lost a child to stillbirth. And in the depths of my grief, I commented and said, I'm so sorry. And I know this isn't verbatim, but I I know this is not the same. It's not the same. But I've lost 3 children, and I just want you to know that I'm here for you. If you need to talk, I'm sorry. And she messaged me right away, and she was basically my lifeline. Just the most amazing human being, exactly who I needed at that moment in my loss journey. And she introduced me to a pregnancy and infant loss support group that I could meet with twice a month virtually. She gave me so many supportive resources like Facebook groups, books to read, tips like journaling, playlists with songs that she found healing. And she was just a huge lifeline, and just the person that I needed. And I remember this pregnancy and infant loss group that I joined was just wow. Like if there, I know that there are these groups in the United States as well, but and I believe in one of the previous episodes of your podcast, someone said empty cradle. This isn't, I don't know if it's the same chain or just a different chapter, but this is empty cradle in British Columbia, which is the province to the west of the province that I live in here in Canada. And they were just amazing. And even though my losses were early, they, of course, promote the fact that a loss is a loss, and any loss and every loss absolutely matters, and any and every loss is not your fault. So I got a lot of healing from that group, which is another thing that's funny, is that one of the members of that empty cradle group is a pastor here, actually, in the city that I live in. And she also had losses of her own, and her and I connected because we found out that we live in the same city. And we started an annual event on October 15th, which is National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day every single year. And we would do it at the church. So we started that last year. We had, I can't remember, maybe 13 people attend. We live streamed it because of COVID, and we knew that there weren't going to be a lot of people. I was unable to make it this year just because I had my daughter and she was going through some separation anxiety stuff. But yeah, fun parent stuff. But I helped out a little bit, and I would absolutely, of course, like to attend next year and be there on site. But what we do at this event is we have a memory tree where we write the names of our babies, if they have names, if we gave them names, or we just call them baby so and so, or their nickname or something. And we write a little message to them. We put it on a beautiful white tree with lights. We do a candle lighting. We are encouraging our guests to take these candles home and save them for 7 p.m., which is the annual Wave of Light in your respective time zone, which happens every year on October 15th. One really cool thing in the city that I live in is we have this bridge sort of in the River Valley downtown area, and it's lit up in pink and blue every single year on October 15th at night, just to remember the lost little ones. So parents are able to go out and bring a candle and just connect with other lost families. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, it's wonderful. And blue and pink are the kind of national colors for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month and Awareness Week and Remembrance Day. So I think that that's really special. So we do promote that as well. And we say, go to the low level bridge and, if you want to remember your little ones. Another thing that I did was participate in your amazing project, Finding Your Rainbow, rainbow skirt photo shoot and sharing of the story. And I remember seeing your account on Instagram for the first time and thinking, okay, one day I'm going to wear that skirt. And I can't remember if you reached out to me or if I reached out to you, but I had said that I wanted to participate, but not yet. I said, wait till the third trimester. As I mentioned earlier, that no milestone gave me peace. And I remember always thinking something was going to go wrong, even though all the signs were, hey, everything's going great. We dubbed Abby Super Baby when we were pregnant because she scored. I don't know what kind of testing we have, but I had a 30-week scan and a 36-week scan, and they do a score out of 8, and she scored 8 out of 8 twice. And they had said it's almost impossible for babies to score 8 out of 8 at the 30-week scan. And I just thought, I don't know, but something's gonna go wrong.
Like, she's already an overachiever.
Yeah, something's gonna go wrong. It doesn't matter what you tell me. You could tell me she could score 10 out of 8 and 100 out of 8, and I'd be like, okay, but something's going wrong. And I remember doing the photo shoot and just thinking, okay, these are going to make great pictures. And then I remember going into labor and I was induced, and I just kept thinking, there's not going to be a baby. Like, am I actually pregnant with a baby? Is it, that sort of thing. So I was just always kind of in denial. And I still look at her every day and go, I can't believe you're here. Like, I can't believe you're mine. And I remember for the first few months that when we took her home, I looked at my husband and I said, are you sure this is my baby? Like, you saw them take her from me and put her in my arms. Is this my baby? And he's like, yeah, what's wrong with you? I go, I don't believe it sometimes. And sorry, that's a random tangent, but it's true. I don't believe it sometimes. And I'm just in awe that she's here still every single day. And I know that that's probably something that will never go away. But yeah, so that second result, which to me was unexpected because I really wanted to share to help others, because I felt empowered, especially on Instagram, by other accounts that were there specifically to help other pregnancy and infant loss survivors feel supported and heard and seen. And when I participated in Project Finding Your Rainbow with the rainbow skirt pictures, I of course shared that on Facebook, and people just loved it. They absolutely loved it. So it was really great to share that and help heal a little bit with my current history of recurrent pregnancy loss. And I found that over the past couple of years, the more that I talked about our story, the more people thought it was okay to talk about it, which was really nice. The people that I guess you could say I'm connected to. And a couple of things that happened at work. I was on a coaching call and I shared my story with somebody, and that person was a grieving dad. And he had said, hey, we're actually going through that right now. We've lost a couple. And I had said, I know this is the first time we're meeting, because I had said, if your wife needs someone to talk to, or if you need someone to talk to, just reach out. I'd be happy to listen. And then there was a call that our team was working with a coach as well. And then I had shared that this had happened to me, and it was something that I was going through, and it was amazing. He shared a very similar story as well. So it was really nice to kind of support some of the dads that were out there, because I know that a lot of the focus is on the mom when it comes to the pregnancy and infant loss. And it was nice to support the dads. So when I look back at all the healing that came from me sharing from helping others heal and gain the courage to tell someone, or maybe publicly share, to share about their loss, or their lost babies, to me, healing by meeting amazing people in my support group and starting an annual Remembrance Day event on October 15th each year. And just by helping me heal and helping others heal, it was all worth it. And it makes that one post that I did initially not seem so scary anymore. It makes it seem that was the right thing to do for me. I'm very proud that I had the courage to share. And I understand sharing is not for everybody, but I just wanted to be a light for people, and I wanted them to feel just a little less alone. And today I share my lost babies whenever I get the chance. I don't consider myself a first-time mom. I say I'm a first-time earthly mom, as Abby is our first earthly child, and that we have 3 in heaven. So whenever somebody asks, is she your first? Even if they're a stranger, I go, she's our first child on earth, but we have three in heaven. And this sounds this sounds silly, but like I don't care what other people how they respond. I don't care if they're like, oh, and they don't know what to say. Most of them just go, I'm so sorry. And I go, thank you. But I want it to be okay. I want people to understand that it's okay to share about the losses. And I want it to just be normal. Cause to me, it's normal. I don't hesitate when I share that. I just say it. And you know, I wanted I see how they respond. And it's just like, okay, well, they're important to me. They're my babies. So I'm going to share them. And now I believe I'm strong enough to educate people or help educate people on how to respond when someone says that they lost a baby. And I mentioned, it's really sad that when us parents lose a child, we feel so alone and people say the most horrible, unknowingly horrible things in support. And when we're in the thick of grief, it's so hard to tell people what you need. And it's hard to tell them what they're saying isn't helpful. So, my goal in sharing is that talking about pregnancy and infant loss is more normalized. So, people know how to better support those going through it. And ultimately, so governments, medical centers, businesses, communities, places of work, I want these people to step up their game when it comes to their support for grieving parents. One day, I'll tell my daughter Abby that she has three siblings in heaven. I fully plan on doing that. And she will understand that not every pregnancy leads to a living baby. I want her to understand that because I was never taught that in school. I was never taught that by my family. And I want her generation to be better at supporting grieving parents than all other generations before her. So that's my main hope in the future. And yeah, that's what I came to share today.
Well, you are doing so many amazing things to help other lost families.
Thank you so much.
You
So
know,
are you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you.
You inspire me so much. Absolutely, just so much with what you do. And I love seeing pictures of Jasmine. I love hearing about Jasmine. And she's just so fortunate and blessed to have you as her mom.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry over here.
I think I've been crying this whole time a little bit, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that our paths crossed.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. And I just want to thank you for all the work that you do and for all the opportunities you give us grieving parents to share. How are you doing this week? And what are you up to? What's something that you're celebrating this week? And I love everything that you're doing and working on. So I just want to take this time to say thank you very much. And I feel so blessed to know you.
Oh, thank you so much. I felt the same about you, just so you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank you so much for, coming on today and sharing your experience. And I really do think that it'll give people hope to know that it's okay to share, even if it's just with one person. You don't have to go all out in public,
Yes.
But
yes,
even just
absolutely.
sharing with one person can really change your grief and healing.
Yes. And you might know, you may never know. It might actually start a wave of conversations. So the most important thing is I think people just feel supported and less alone.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much again.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Jenna, for sharing your story with us and bringing up this important topic. I love all the amazing benefits that you had and the number of people that you helped and that just reached out to you and connected with you simply by putting yourself out there and making that post, by sharing your story and being open about what you were going through. It really helps people know that they're not alone, and it helps give people hope for the future, that they too can get pregnant again, that they can have their rainbow baby, that they can move forward with their grief and learn how to live with the grief. And remember, anything you do doesn't have to be something hugely public in order to be meaningful. We remember our babies every day by just thinking of them, by saying their name, by continuing to include them as part of the family, because they will always be part of our family. There's nothing you do that is too small to honor your baby. You do what is most meaningful to you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, we are all in this together.